There's Daniel McKeown coming at you, your next village idiot. Campaigning for absolutely nothing, coming at you with a new transmission straight away. Because I wonder if I hope my cat comes. Oh, is he behind me? Is he behind me? There he is. There's Murphy. Do you want to come out and come hang out with me? Is that the goal? I don't know. I feel bad now. This is so performative. If I was a real sun chaser and fun lover, I would just let the cat out and let him wander. Maybe I will do that, but I have to put his harness on to do that, and I do want to kind of only focus on this. Everything is performance. Remember, everything you see online, someone wanted it to look that way and wanted you to see it that way. Anywho, it's a couple days after. Maybe I'll just do a classic diary for this one. Who knows? It's a few days after the show that I said I was preparing for, that I said I was excited about. Turns out it was a bad omen to be excited for it, because it was very much more a learning curve than anything else. I am slightly having to go back to the drawing board in terms of writing. Oh, he's just watching me. This is so bad. I'm slightly having to go back to the drawing board in terms of writing, because I would say I had a hit rate of about 37%. It was weird because I still enjoyed it and was still like dancing around and having fun and stuff. But they were not down with it. They were not into any part of it. I don't know. I think I took the wrong lesson from Chris Fleming's HBO special, which was to be more specific and more articulate a specific feeling badly, and that did not serve me well. I think actually, for any comedians out there, really should just write jokes. That would be, write something that you know that the jokes are, not just you trying to game out half-baked online theories. At this point, I don't even think I'm that much of an online guy, or if I am, it's in a very digestible, smoothed edged way. I don't use the internet to its full capacity. I probably use the internet to about 2% of its full capacity. Anyway, the show was still fun, and then me and Ruby had a good old-fashioned slagging off gossip sesh, which was always nice. It's good to get a bit of a bitch out of your system. Testing of the video game that I'm working on with my company, which is very good. You sort of just watch people game. It feels very Matrix coded. And then last night was a lovely day, much like today. It's not hard for you to picture the kind of day yesterday was, because it was very similar to today, which in many ways is true of all days. Something I have been known to say: all days are exactly like all days. But anyway, we had a lovely morning where we sold a sofa, so now we're sofa-less. This is actually the most armchairy chair in the flat, and it's not even in the flat, it's outside. Deeply uncomfortable, but we did find out that when you put an uncomfortable chair outside, it makes it more comfortable. When you're inside and you sit on an armchair, the expectation is that you would make inside comfy. But when you're out here in the cold, harsh reality, and you sit in a chair which is only mid-level uncomfortable, my God, it's a 10. It's a 10. It's incredible. It's incredible how much it's just perception, but perception's really all that we have, which is something else I like to say. So we sold the sofa to this very middle-class couple who, it was a lot of what I would describe as dithering. It was two couples dithering at each other. I don't think we were too much like it. It was very, oh yeah, get out and pull. Maybe if you pull that way, or hello, welcome to the. It was a lot of that, which was fun. Made a cool 50 quid off of it, which you can't say fairer than that for a sofa, and also not a sofa that I didn't even like very much. But we did that, and then we went walking to Hackney Wick. Which you can tell I'm in Hackney from the everything about me. Where we had a lovely sort of outside picnic, and we just kind of chatted and hung out. It was really nice. I can recommend having a wife or a life partner. I can recommend having a soulmate because you have days like that where you just nothing else matters. We started planning a trip that we did not book, which we will be hopefully doing today. And then I went to a stand-up show at 5 p.m. in a casino. A show which did not go well. They didn't seem to be wanting to laugh, didn't seem to know what they wanted to laugh at, and did not like me in particular. So that was an interesting time. I think I need to get back to brass tacks joke writing. That's what I think should be the less. I've had a lot of good inspiration recently. It's been really fun, so I feel like more positive and open to the world of creation. I feel like I've consumed enough, and now I'm ready to create something. Like, it's just fabulous to have that inspiration. But I sort of, in a quick recap, the inspirations were Olga Cox's show, Fat Tom Cruise, which was amazing, really good show. Jabuki Young White was in London, who was also a really funny comedian. Really, I was laughing out loud at some of the bits. And a lot of it, basically all of it. But I was laughing like I was hurting my stomach laughing, which is always good. Chris Fleming's special, and then what I was going to get to was watching Saturday Night Live UK last night, which was actually made me so happy, and it was so exciting. It was just a real, it was everything that I sort of wanted it to be. Had this kind of edge to it. It was like, it felt urgent and needed. It had a really clear voice. It was just great. But I guess the most recent inspiration was definitely some of these jokes were so well written and so well done. I couldn't quite believe it. And I think for me, to make it about me, the inspiration was to get back to real classic joke writing and just simplify the whole thing. Stop trying to overthink everything. I think sometimes I overthink everything. My friend once told me, it's like my comedy comes with homework. Yeah, I guess that's where that's where I'm at, really, is that sort of my life is good, and most things outside of comedy are good for me. I'm finding, like, I can't really I think my problems are pretty small fry comparatively. I've got an incredible wife and a wonderful soulmate. Just felt everything all right in the world yesterday. Even though it's definitely not. Even though it's definitely not. And if you start loving your life, you're selfish, actually. If you start thinking in terms of self-love and your goals and achievements in the context of the wider world, you've failed, actually. You've fallen off. If you start getting existential, and also the other way, if you start getting existential on yourself, if you start thinking about yourself in the greater context of the universe at this point in time, fuck you. But yeah, it's just comedy's been struggling to get it where I want it to be, which is basically shorthand for my whole comedy career, really. For context, because you don't know me, I've been doing comedy for about 7 years with mid-levels of success. And I'm slightly relearning. I did my debut show at Edinburgh, which is coming out soon on this channel. I filmed it, and I think it's just been a little bit weird, kind of relearning what my relationship to it is, and trying to make it work for me, I guess. And because a lot of good things have come out of it. Like, I made a lot of really good friends through it. I've got to make this special with friends, like my friends Josh and Justice and Alec and all these people, which I really love, and I'm really excited for people to see it, because I worked very hard on this show, and I wanted it to have a record of that. And I made money off of it at Edinburgh, and I got this job that I really like off the back of it. I'm just now, like, I've sort of only gotten what I've gotten, I guess, and I don't know if I'm entitled to wanting to be more successful. I don't know. Well, yeah, obviously I do. I think that would be silly if anyone didn't say they wanted to be more successful, but I just don't want to care about that stuff, and I've made a point of making myself not care about that stuff. But yeah, I think it's just because I'm also 29 and I'm just generally existential, which is so embarrassing. It's just so cringe. I can't stress enough how cringe existentialism is. It's like, why am I here? It's like, fuck off, you're here. You're here to drink some coffee going cold. You're here to sit next to some lavender that you haven't regrown. You're here to enjoy the sun. You're an animal. You're a creature. It's a miracle that you're alive at all. And I sort of think I know that all logically, but then emotionally it always creeps in, this self-worth thing. It's just so dreary. Ugh. And we're all doing it, all doing some version of it. I think it's just like such a load of wank. I'm so sick of myself. I think everyone's trying to escape themselves, really. I think that's the big thing. Everyone's trying to escape themselves. It's like those tech guys who want to live forever. They're all so terrified of death and trying to make something that means they can escape themselves. Oh, let me shoot this rocket into space. I'll escape myself. Let me spy on everybody in the world. Let me, plug in all my mates who are all big Israel lobbyists into the government because I don't want to have a conversation where I cringe and fuck it up with somebody. I feel like that's really the vibe of those guys. They're all trying to escape death and escape their own egos and escape themselves, but they can't. They have to live with themselves, as we all do. That's where things are at. And I think I'm like, I wanted to burn all the material from the last 7 years with the last show, which is basically what that was. But now I'm in this point of like, sort of learning the difficulty. Actually, really sort of practicing retroactive gratitude is what I would say it, because I now realize how much of a gift it was to have all this material that I can't use anymore, or said I couldn't use because I'm wanting to hammer out new material and all that malarkey. Because it's so hard. I'm finding it so hard, dude. But that doesn't mean I won't stop doing it. Eileen pointed out whenever I come back from shows, I'm always like, well, that wasn't worth it. Which is silly and a waste of time. It's cool though. I think it's cool doing it. I think I'm really grateful for it, and I don't want to shrink that by doing the what have I got to show for it. I think that's the fear and the anxiety is always like, what have I got to show for it after 7 years or whatever. But like, my life's been much better because of it, and I like what I'm doing, and I don't know, I like myself, and yeah. That's the thing with, I think, this podcast is going to swing wildly between sort of half-formed forms of bitty bits and then randomly just pondering on baby's first philosophy, basically. Another wonderful thing is that we picked up some coriander and some mint that we're going to replant today, and that is something in that's cool. I don't buy, by the way, these people, people are like, oh, you don't even actually save that much more money growing it, it's basically the same cost. And I'm like, yeah, but you get to grow a thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't make this about money. It's not about the money, okay? It's that you get to have like a hobby that actually gives you something. God forbid I spent a while away, an hour trying to grow an onion. God forbid that happens. What else would I be doing? Maybe relearning how to read. That would be good. Unless I go full of Mice and Men, go full Lenny. They never say go full Lenny, because I'll forget how to read and be a kind of willfully stupid and just replant things around the thing, cook and clean, be out in the outhouse, work with my hands. It feels like a good way of, maybe that's it. You don't gotta, I know everybody wants to get lobotomies now. You don't gotta get lobotomies. You just kind of will yourself to be a more honorable kind of stupid, you know? You don't have to. You don't have to. It's really the difference. It's farm to table stupidity, right? It's like instead of getting some freakazoid Silicon Valley guy to fucking plug into your brain to turn off your brain chip thing with the phone. Do it your damn self. Just sit with it, you know? Just really think about how little you know. Look at a bike. Think about how little you know about how they made it. How if someone told you to build a bike from scratch, you would absolutely not know. And then take it down to the shop and get somebody else to do it. Look at the sun straight in the eyes with no sunglasses on. Schedule someone to come round and beat you in the head with a bat. If nothing, it will give you humility, and at something, it will give you brain damage, and you'll be able to be a lot happier. You just got to be careful in this day and age. You've just got to be careful about the kind of warped psychosis you want to end up in. That's what happened with Nicki Minaj. She used to be a beautiful and original kook. We all knew she was crazy. Are you kidding? She was loopy draw. She was nuts. Beyond insane. And now it's just this smoothed edges out, bullshitty, right-winger crazy, which is so embarrassing. You don't want to be there poisoning the water crazy. You want to believe in aliens. Oh, but you can't even believe in aliens crazy anymore. This is all very American kinds of crazy. I feel like the American psychosis is a very known thing because of their pure capitalism. But we need to take pride in our English psychosis, you know? A charity shop owner who is 100% set on the idea that people are trying to do a prank show on her when they come round and ask her about her tax evasion. Landlords actually have it really figured out in terms of psychosis. They'll go real Miss Havisham level. I just want to reference movies that no one remembers anymore as I get carted off in my straitjacket. Again, a kind of softer Lenny type thing. Like Leo DiCaprio at the end of Revolutionary Road. There was one, for example. I don't want it to be slop. I want it to be soup. There's a difference between brain slop and brain soup. Brain soup is brewed. There's heart in it. There's, I threw in the cornstarch of the mind, which is smoking weed. And I think you want to be the kind of delicate, fainting, soft kind of crazy, where you kind of slightly mumble to yourself. I met a guy like that once. I used to work in pubs, and a guy came in. We had just opened. It was like 12:30. He comes in, and he has these kind of round glasses. He looked kind of like Porco Rosso, or like a sort of round raccoon from a children's storybook. And he comes in, and he's wearing like a tweed blazer. And part of the reason I say he looked like a raccoon was because he was kind of going like that. And I was already like, listen, you meet your fair share of crazies when you work customer service, but that was already like, okay, that's got me on an edge, That's you're not like relaxed in the open shirt relaxed crazy where something didn't go your way and you're a germaphobe about it. This was like raw, uncut, coal face kind of crazy. It wasn't like a Richmond mum being upset in an Olenstein because she grabbed an apple tart and took a bite, but is taking out her anger of a divorce from 17 years ago. No, there's a possession in that, but no, it wasn't that. It was, I have no one to talk to, and it does not matter how this stuff comes out. It's spewed. It wasn't cruel. It wasn't puritanical. It was just, there were noises his body had to make. That he had to get out, and he was kind of mumbling to himself. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna engage when he asks me. I'm gonna do my contracted job of wait for them to order. And he sort of mutters. I hear a half word. It's like, and then he starts talking to me about honey badgers for a good long while. And I don't really understand what he's saying, so and listen. Who am I? You know what I mean? This is what I mean. You have to respect crazy. Crazy is as crazy does. You just gotta let him wind it out, catch 22 style. And then I ask him, well, I hope the honey badgers are okay, but can I get you anything to drink? And he goes, oh, I'd love a Spitfire ale, because my wife used to be a Spitfire pilot. This guy was about 60, so I was like, your wife now is a Spitfire pilot. And then he goes like, oh, no, I'm sorry. In her past life. And I think that is the kind of crazy we should be fostering. That kind of village crazy. I think it's a really sweet... I think there's something organic in it that I really like. I think similarly, I was walking to work. I used to have to travel an hour to work. Can you believe it? God. Horrific hour-long commute. Not like the gentleman's 40-minute commute, which I have now. And I was walking through Victoria Park, and I saw this guy, and he's throwing broken up bits of bread out to the pigeons, which I think is divine. I think it's still one of the great joys, great small joys. And I've got nowhere to be except work, which I hate. So I start talking to him, and I go like, "Hey man, like, how's it going? You feeding the pigeons?" Yeah. And he goes like, "I feed the pigeons every day. I feed the pigeons every day." But then also went on to, I think, compulsively lie about how he used to be a billionaire. He had a wife and things. Who knows if that happened? I believe it's true. It didn't happen to him, but I believe the story was true. So that would be nice. Kind of, again, I get to tend the rabbits. Like, there's just something motivated in that. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover before we call it. Also, I mean, Weekend Update was so good, obviously, on Saturday Live UK, and then that was so good. There was this bit where the only vessel that was sent from the UK to the Iran war was one of Captain Birdseye. And it just really hit, because, like, Captain Birdseye is such a great cut. Oh man, it was good stuff, man. It all hit. It was fabulous. But yes. Embrace the depression. You gotta let things be sad. But it isn't everything. There's always more. I think things can be sad as long as they're clear-eyed, as long as you know why it's sad. I just hate pity party stuff. Maybe that would be a good one. So, I'm starting to think structurally this show can't just be me holding a tiny microphone. It probably should be a little more structured. I know the point of it was to be unstructured, but I was thinking maybe each episode could end with a different campaign promise based on what I've said to you today. If you're listening, or Thank you for watching. I don't know why you would be, but it's nice to know that I exist. Even if existentialism is cringe. Thank you.